Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the basic data types of Python, and I'm going to use the PyCharm IDE to write the Python command. And if you are not familiar with the PyCharm, you can follow my another video in which I talk about the Python and PyCharm installation. So follow that video, set up and configure the PyCharm on your machine, and then you can follow this tutorial to play around with the Python basic data types in the command. So let's start with that. As you can see, I have the PyCharm window open. So let's right click on the project and create like new Python file. I can name it as basic data types. Hit enter and you see it created the Python file with the basic data type. So in Python, we have the four different basic data types: integer, float, string, and boolean. So you can create like any variable and assign to value of that, and then we will check how you can basically check the type of that particular variable. So for example, you create variable num and assign some value like 23. You can create another variable like greet, assign some value to it. Same with this, and create another variable like, for example, is raining, and you can say yes. So I created four different variable and assigned four different kind of value into this. So like, for example, 23, it's an integer value. So any whole number like 23 or like 2 or 100 or like 1000, those are considered as the integer value. And second value in the greet variable is a string. As you can see, I put in double quotes. You can either put in double quotes or you can also use like single quotes. I will go over the string in details later. Um, but here it's just like you can use double quotes or single quote. Third one is like you see I use the decimal, that is called the float value. So any decimal value consider as a float and float value, and then true and false, like for example true or false are considered as like the Boolean value in Python. So let's now check so these are called the variable assignment. Now check the type. So for example, if I say you create another variable type, and you say type of num. So you want to check the num variable type, and now if you print the variable type, it should give you the integer. No, because you have to run right here. Um, so as you see, like it returned like class of integer. So that means this variable num is of type integer. So same thing we can do with the greet. And if I run, it should give you the string. So as you see, it's class type of string. And if I do, for example, this one, raining, is raining, it will give you the Boolean type. As you see, it says class Boolean. So that's how you just create any variable and assign the value to that. And if you want to see what's the data type of that variable, you can use the type function to check the data type of that particular variable. So now let's talk about the string in detail. So string is nothing but it's like a ordered collection or order sequence, and because of this is ordered, so we can use indexing and slicing on the string. So what it mean by indexing? So indexing is like the first character of a string is start with the index location 0, and then it's go onward, like second character will be at the first index location, third character will be at the second index location. So if I create for example a string name and I say John Oliver, for example, I create this name, right? So now if you want to grab the first character, so your first character J is at the 0th location. So let me write this command. So that's how you get this, the first character. So when you will run, you will see it returns you the J only. So that's how the indexing works. And the last character of the string is always saved at the location like -1. So for example, if you want to grab the last character, it will be name of -1. So when you will run this command, it will give you the R from your last name Oliver. So you see it gives the R. So that's how the indexing works in the string. So and now if you want to grab, so next concept is slicing, because string saved in like a sequence with the index, so we can grab the subsection of the string, that is called slicing. So for example, if you want to grab first name John only, so I can create another variable and I will say I want the first name. Oh, before that, let me tell you like what is slicing means. So let's put the comment here. So slicing is the format is like you pass start and then stop and then step. So that is how you use the slicing on the string. So start is the index from where you want to grab the slice of your string. Stop is like where you want to stop, but the stop location, the index location will not include in your string. So if you want to grab string from like 0th location till like 3rd location, so at the stop you have to pass like number 4. So that's where you can grab the string from like 0th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd up to the 3rd location. And step is like how you want to jump in your string. Like you want each character, then your step will be 1. But if you want like every second character, then you can use step as a 2. So let's go over some example here. So for example, you want to grab your first name John. So that will be uh, from the start of your string. And from the start, you can either pass 0 or you can even leave blank. That will be by default considered as the start of your string. So I will show you both. So now you want to include up to n, right? So n is your 3rd index location. So you have to pass 4 here, and you want each like each and every character like JOHN. So you will pass step as a 1. If you I mean, if you will not pass 1, it will be by default as the 1. The step size is 1. So if you print this, it will give you the name John. So let me run this. As you see, you receive the John name, right? So for example, even if you don't pass this, it will still give you John. Okay, so when you start with the first location, you don't have to pass. That's like an option. But for example, if you want to grab like O, H, and N, so you will pass from here. You say like start my slice or my substring from the first index location and go all the way up to the 4, but don't include 4, right? So if you will do that, it will give you O, H, and N. So here. So that's how the slicing works. And for example, if you want to grab every second character, right, and start from like starting, so it will give you J and H. So if I print that, as you see, it give you J and H. So it skipped the second character and the last, like the 4th character. So it's like every second character is gonna print. So that's how the slicing works. And now let's talk about. So we already see the print function where you can just pass some variable or pass some string, and it will give you. It will basically just give you the output. So now let's talk about like the formatting. The dot format method. Let me just put some comment here. like how you can use the dot format in your print. So for example, here you grab the first name, right? Let me just do this. So that is gonna give you the first name, and if I say last name, that will be so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you start from the fifth location from the O and go all the way to the down. So I will say start from fifth and go all the way down. So that will give me the last name, just to be the just to be make sure I'm just trying to print first and last name here. So if I say, you see it print first name and the last name, John and Oliver. So now we will use the dot format method to use this variable with, for example, if you want to add another string. So you can say like my best friend name is, and then you will use this like curly braces and dot format method, and in the dot format method you can pass first name comma last name. So now what it's going to do is like it's go with the order. So first name from here will come in the first curly braces, second variable last name will come into the second. So when you will print this, it will give you the whole string like my best friend name is John Oliver. So if I run this, and you will see it says my best friend name is John Oliver. And you can also use like for example, for more simplicity you can assign like F, and like for example L for the last name, F for the first name, and here you can pass this FLN instead of putting it a blank. It will give you the same result. So when you run this, it says my best friend name is John Oliver. So that's how you use the dot format method with the print functionality to add like the more explanation with your variables, for example. And so the next I'm going to talk about the properties and methods of the strings. So first property is immutable. So string is immutable. That means you cannot just edit the string within the string itself. Like for example, I have my name is John Oliver, and if I say name, uh, let's do this like new name. If you want to say like, okay, I'm gonna replace something, you say like name of or okay, let's try this thing. If you say like name of like first character, you just wanna replace the first character. You say like, okay, I wanna replace this with R. Okay, and if you try this, and if you try to run this, it's gonna give you error. So it says like string object, like this thing does not support item assignment. So you cannot just replace something in the string. So that is not allowed because it's immutable. So if you want to change something, so what you can do is, for example, you want to change that, so you can create a new name. So what you can do is, because you want to replace the first character, so you will use the concatenation and use the slicing. So you grab from the second location till the end, and at the first location, you will just concatenate with what you want to replace. So if I print new name, and you will see it will, instead of J, it will be R. Oh, sorry, I have to comment it out this thing because this is not allowed. Okay, so now you say it replace J with R. So that's how, if you want to change something, you cannot just edit the original string, but you can take a slicing and do the concatenation and use that. So next I'm gonna talk about the next property that you cannot concatenate integer with the string. So for example, I will say age is 45, right? So if you want to do this, like print um, name plus age. So here like the name is your string and age is like integer. So if you try to um, print the concatenation of a string with the integer, it will give you some error. So like for example here you see it says print name plus age. When it execute, it says type error, can only concatenate string not int. So if you have to use the integer concatenate with the string, so what you have to do the typecast of the integer value. So like this. So now if you will print, so you see it says John Oliver 45. So that's how you can concatenate. And so the next I'm going to talk about the method that is applicable in the string. So first one is upper. So if you want to convert everything or like the whole string into the uppercase letter, so you will use the upper method. So now when you print, and you will see it convert everything into the uppercase. The same thing will be the lowercase, and you see everything is converting to the lowercase letter. There's a couple of more, for example, title. So what title is do is basically it convert first letter of each word into the capital letter. So when you run this, you will see J and O is converted to the caps, and everything else is small. The next method that you can use is capitalize. So what capitalize do is basically it take your whole string, and just the first letter of your string it will convert into the capital, and everything else will become like a smaller. So when you do this, and you see only the J is like caps and everything else will be the small. So the next method I'm going to talk about the length function. So if you want to know like what's the length of your string, so when you will print this, it will give you it's like total 11 characters. So it includes the spaces and any special character, anything. It just take like from first to the end, like how many total characters are in there, including any special character and space. So that len method is basically to check the length of the string. Next, I'm going to talk about the split. And split is like really important when you are, for example, working with the files, with that has like a lot of text in there. So here, for example, I say like uh, favorite place to visit. I say like, okay, sorry, I have to put this in a string. So I like to go to, you know, like Canada and India, something like that. So now you see like you have the so many words, right? And you want to split it. So what it's gonna do is you're gonna use the split function, and a split function is basically split your string and return the output into a list. So you say like fav place list, for example. So because the output is going to be in the split in the list format. So now fair place to visit split. So you will use the split method with your variable name, and it will give you the output. So now if I print this, so you will see it will give you the list. So here, so it basically break the whole string into the different words, because you in the split you just put the blank. That means it's going to split the string wherever it sees the space. Okay, you can do with for example, if I say split my string on the I. So wherever it sees I, it will split. So like first string, it will create like I space L, then it will go from here K till like this. Then third, it will become N and D, and the last it will give A. So let's print this and we'll see the output. As you see, it says I space L, and then from K till like and and then space. So whatever you pass in the split method is basically split the string based on that. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about the join method. So join is basically a list method, because now you got the list, and join what is going to basically do is take your list and you can join back into the string. So for example, now you have this fab place list and you say like I want to convert this back into the string. So you will say do this like string convert into string and join, and in the join you will pass your list. It's like fab place list. So when you do this, it will convert back into the string. So oh, sorry, I have to make a space here. Okay, so when you do this and you see, so first you break your string into the list, and then you convert it back your list into the string. So that is the join method. Next, I'm going to talk about the mathematical operation in Python. So let's create another file. Uh, I will create another Python file. I will say math operations. Let's do that. So, for example, I create two number. So I created two number here, and so first one is the addition. It's very simple. You just use the plus sign to add two number. So when you do this, it should be 33. So it adds the two number. Second is subtraction. It's very similar. It will just subtract the number. So you will see the output is 13. Third, I'm going to talk about the multiply. So it will give you 230. Simple. Fourth, I'm going to talk about the division. So here's the interesting part. So even though you are using two integer values in a simple division, but the result, the output will be in the float. So if you do this, it's 2.3, right? Even if you say like, for example, 20, it will still give you like 2.0. So as you see 2.0, but if you want to get the integer value output instead of float, so you have to use the absolute division, that is 2 slash instead of 1. So now when you run, it will give you only 2. So that's how you use like a normal division versus the absolute division. Next, I'm going to talk about the modulus operator. That is also very interesting because it gives you the remainder. And so like for example 20 more 10, when you do the absolute division you get the 2, but in this case you will get 0. So you see, so it to give the remainder. But for example, if I say 22, right, so it will give you 2 here. So this is very useful when you want to check like if your number is even or odd. So like for example, you have 22 and you can do mod. So you will get 0, so that you can say your number is even. But if you get like 1, that means your number is odd. So that's very useful in there. Next, I'm going to talk about like, for example, the power. So you use 2 star there. So that is 5 raised to power 2. So When you run this, you will see 25. So that is how you use the power function. So that's all in today's tutorial for basic data types in Python. In the next tutorial, I will cover more more Python objects and the data structure like list, dictionary, tuples, and set. So thanks for watching this video, and if you like this video, please press the like button and also subscribe to my channel. And thank you very much again, and looking forward to see you guys in the next tutorial. Yeah, have a good day.